pact once broken, forged anew. Warlocks Waffles, forged anew.
Did you want waffles?
Why would it be funny if that was the nervous tick I had, Junie?
Because
we are live, by the way.
Okay, I'll say it. It's fine.
Okay.
It's okay. There's this one anime I watch where when the guy gets nervous, he starts speaking in medieval phrases like forsooth and such.
Forsooth.
Yeah, and it's just like if you were, whenever you felt a certain way, it's like, uh-oh, Hunter's speaking in medieval colloquialisms. He's pissed, like, like he's anxious. Some sort of like tell.
Let's see here.
Apparently I'm coming in really soft, but that is my personality. I'll turn up my volume. Oh, there it is.
It corrected.
And I turned it up. I don't know if you turned it up, but I turned myself up.
I think we both turned. We both turned up.
Oh, now
turned up in here. Doody doot. Good morning. Welcome to Warlocks. It was a bad like turn down for what, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning.
Man, you're bringing it. You're bringing. Oh God.
Whiplash. Welcome to the stream.
A fake out.
It was. You thought I was going over here, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's coming to my face. Welcome to the. Don't clip it.
You're lucky my stream deck is not hooked up right now. Plug it in.
Welcome to Warlocks and Waffles. This is a TTRPG morning show where we do things and or stuff. It has been a little bit since we did the show. Exactly a week, actually. Like
1 week.
We didn't do the show Friday. Had technical difficulties. And
it's my fault. It's fine. We could say.
I wasn't blaming you. I was saying we had technical difficulties, and then I did it in a funny way, and then you just didn't give me anything to go off of. So the energy just kind of like imagine you were like flying and then just hit the ground. That's what that joke did.
That's called falling. If you were flying and you hit the ground, that you were falling. You weren't really flying.
It's not called falling. It's called flying without style. That's a Toy Story joke. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the stream. I would like to start today with a highlight.
Oh.
Has nothing to do with our topic for today.
Oh,
so
okay.
I feel it is important for anyone who hasn't seen the show before to set expectations of how focused we will be. So I want to start with a deep tangent.
Oh dear God.
Yesterday, my wife and I spent the majority of the day yesterday doing a clean of the house. My office also serves as kind of a storage unit for us. So, like, because I don't use the majority of the room, but there has been a lot of stuff in here that just wasn't like well organized, or things were just kind of scattered in a way that made it not super useful for storing stuff. And so we, for a while, have been like, well, this isn't super ideal. And so we spent a lot of yesterday sort of cleaning up and getting things situated and stuff like that. Which means that while we were cleaning,
Mhm.
I found this,
That's delightful.
which is a handmade beholder pillow that a friend of mine made me for Christmas a couple of years ago. And I love it dearly. And I didn't know where it was, and I found it. It also doubles as the cover of the pillow comes off,
I
and it can be
actually
a beanie
yeah,
for my giant head.
I actually thought that it was like a hat that you put over something, and then you said pillow, and I was like, oh, okay, because I saw like that it was kind of open at the
Mhm.
bottom, and I was, is it a pillowcase? Is it a pillow? And then I was like, I knew it. I
So
knew it was.
what she told me was that it originally was supposed to be a beanie, and then she realized she didn't know how to make a beanie. And so it ended up being a pillow. But I have a very large head. And so it works either way. Multifaceted, this pillow. But yeah, that is my tangent to start the show. Do you have a tangent, Junie?
No, I was cleaning. I did not find anything cool. I threw away a lot of stuff. My den is also not optimized. It was becoming a storage thing, but not because we decided that. It was because I just kept throwing crap in here. Uh, it is hard for me to let go of things. Oh boy.
I feel that.
I keep thinking I can save this, I can use this for something, pieces of cardboard, just like random scraps of things. And I was doing a lot of getting rid of anything. I was like, I haven't touched this in God knows how long, how many years. I don't need it. But then I got rid of books. Like I'm saying had I have a lot of Stephen King books like that I was just buying when I was younger, and I
Hmm.
got rid of most of them, put them in a box, all my Dean Koontz books, a lot of things. And
Now, when
oh
you
boy,
say
oh
when
boy,
you
it's hard.
say when you say getting rid of, were
I'm gonna donate
you
them. They're in a
you're
box, and
like
they're
getting rid of?
yeah, yeah. I don't want to, but I would rather do this than they're just gonna junk up somebody else's place. It's like, who can I store this in your basement, or can I store it? Because I'm gonna forget about them there too.
Hmm.
So it is what it is.
Is what
Everything's
it
digital.
is.
Anyway,
Welcome to the
what are
show,
we here to
everybody.
talk about? What are we here for? What's
Today,
happening?
in case you can't tell by Junie's background today, we are continuing our series. Yeah,
Sure.
it's a
Yeah.
series. We are
Yeah.
continuing our series of going through the different monster types and ranking all of the monsters of that type from the basic rules, and going through sort of looking at what their stats look like, what are all of their stuff looks like, and ranking where they fall in compared to each other. Today's monster type is Celestials, which I love. A Celestial. I do think that they are a underused monster type,
Mm,
based in that they are like angels. Like when people think Celestial, they think angel. And
yeah.
so there's a lot of monsters that fall into Celestial that people don't realize do. There's
Yeah.
also there's a lot of people that I feel like would, when looking to put a monster into something, wouldn't go for a Celestial unless it is like the guardian of some holy relic or like a champion of a temple or something like that. Otherwise, they're probably going to go for like something else. Um, so I feel like they don't get as much playtime as some of the others.
I think that this is in the same way I think we've described like demons and fiends a lot, where if
Hmm.
something looks like something, they kind of just make it that.
Hmm.
So if they ever need a convenient, oh, this was sent from a god or whatever, they're gonna
Yeah.
turn the tea kettle, it's celestial. You know what I mean? They're gonna make it whatever it is. It's
Hmm.
gonna do radiant damage. And when we go to like the basic rules, there's we've discovered that when we go to basic rules, there's a lot of some of them there's a whole mess load of things, and some are very small. And this is one of the ones that are kind of smaller. I
Hmm.
don't know if this is the smallest list, but there's only one, two, three. There's only six. There's only six on this one.
Hmm.
And I think two of them are curveballs. No, three of them I think are curveballs.
Three of
Three,
them, three of them are a little bit like, really?
yeah, three make you like kind of go, wait, what? And then the other ones you're like, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
There are three that you're like, yeah, that's an angel. And then
Yeah.
three that are like, that's a monstrosity. Like, come on. You're telling me this isn't a monstrosity? It's clearly a monstrosity. You want to just dive right in?
Yeah, I'm here.
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
So, first on our list, and this is when we've been doing refining as we've been going, and we've I think landed in this nice zone of we go by stat block. We also go by, how usable is it for like a DM
Hmm.
to like put it anywhere. And then there's like how interesting can it be? And that's,
Yeah.
subjective, but
We've
it's
slowly refined our process as we've been going
yeah.
through these creatures.
Yeah, it's like usability, can you inject this anywhere?
Hmm.
Is it evergreen? Is it just a claw bite type of thing?
Hmm.
And can it just anything can be that?
Right.
So I think it mixed them up on the tier list. But if we go in alphabetical order, let's go to the snaky one. Do you see it there? I don't know if it's the first thing on your end.
Uh,
Uh,
oh yeah, you want to start with the snake one?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Is
the
that
that
I'm
is
going
the
alphabetical the way it is on D&D Beyond.
sure. Yeah.
So
So that would be the coatl.
yeah. So this one is interesting because it is grounded in like actual folklore. Like
Yeah.
this is like a thing. I know Kill Every Monster did an episode on it, which they had to like be very respectful for. They had experts. It's from Mexican folklore, like South
Hmm.
American folklore. And it's a lawful good medium celestial. And it kind of doesn't fight a lot. It does have a bite, it has a constrict, but the way it's flavored, it's more of a guide. It's more of like a
Hmm.
messenger. It's a go between. All its spells, I don't think it has any damage dealing spells, but it's got like detect thoughts, detect magic at
Yeah.
will,
Detect
three
evil and
spells, another
good.
one. Yeah, dream. It can enter your dream. Scrying.
Sanctuary, shield, luster restoration.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have like damage dealers. I also like that they under languages, it just
Hmm.
says all.
Yep.
It speaks all languages and has telepathy out to 120 feet, which is awesome. I had never I've never used a coatl in one of my games.
Hmm.
So I had never like looked at their sheet all that much. They have shape change. They magically polymorph into a
Hmm.
humanoid or beast that has a challenge rating equal to or less than its own. Which this is a challenge rating of 4. Um, and any equipment it is wearing or carrying is absorbed or borne by the new form. In the new form, it retains the same statistics and ability to speak, but its AC and movement modes, strength, dexterity, and other actions are replaced by those of the new form, which I think is very, very interesting. It's just not something I knew was there.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it. It makes it a humanoid or whatever, but it doesn't let it do. It doesn't give it these other a bit like if something has legendary actions or something like that. But
Hmm.
it is supposed to be like they turn into a guide, a messenger animal. Like their main bullet points are divine caretakers, truth takers, and ancient and few. So
Hmm.
there's not many of them. They scream NPC.
Hmm.
They scream like quest giver. Um, I if I was just looking at pictures, um, I know I would think, okay, I want to fight. I need flying snakes to fight. You know what I mean? Like there is a flying snake monster.
Hmm.
Um, and I would think just by like skimming that this is that. And this is the furthest from that, where this is like demigod, god level, something or other, but it's not a guardian. If it's a guardian, it's guardian to like I think the way I saw it used was like it's gonna try to convince you that you don't want to do this thing. Like if it's guarding a door or something like that, it's more of like, hey, this is why this is locked up. You shouldn't do it. But
Right.
they're not actually
It's never go-
fighting you.
it's never going to be guarding something that is like a don't go in here because inside is a bunch of riches that I've hoarded and like
Correct.
they're mine. You
Yeah.
can't have them. If they're guarding a door, it's because nobody should go through that door, or there is
Correct.
something
Yep.
beyond it that like no one should have access to.
Hmm. And I think that it's one that is probably underutilized,
Hmm.
or at the very least, more often than not utilized correctly. This is just only because I know if I'm like scanning, I pretty much just see the stat blocks and I don't always see the other bits if I'm
Mm.
online. Um, so I would just think like, okay, it could turn into and I would think, it can turn into other things that are damaging, or I would, yeah, it's got all these resistances. And I wouldn't go to like it's lawful good, like it's gonna try to be, helpful and all that. So I feel like it is definitely useful, but it doesn't scream that right off the top.
Hmm.
So that's not its fault, but does that mean that it's not as usable unless you know? Like you got to be someone that knows history, actual folklore, and
Right.
dives in. How do you feel as far as like the way a DM uses it? You think that there's other things that do what this thing does? You think that um it's like people are going to make it more dangerous than it needs to be, or just use something else in place of this? Do you think there's a lot more that can be used instead of this? Where are you feeling with this?
I feel like this is a very unique creature to me. The combination of abilities, the lore behind them that's set out here, like they're a very unique creature. You don't see too many uh like creatures that are designed as like a benevolent guardian. Like things that are guardians are usually things that are going to like, oh, they will destroy you if you like try and like go through this door. And I feel like the Coatl, if you were to like go to where they were guarding and try and access the thing, they'd be like, listen, you don't want to do this. This is a bad idea. Here's why. But if you insist on going through, they might still let you. Like they might still let you make that choice. Um based on what I'm reading. Um
I actually saw something that makes me did you see the very end of of its like little stat situation right here? Uh at the
no,
very
what?
end, and this is what makes me go like, wait a second, Celestials though. The mating ritual of Quaddles
I did see
is a
that. Yeah.
beautiful and elaborate dance of magic and light, which results in a gem-like egg. from which a new quaddle hatches. The parent that sought out the mate raises the newborn quaddle and instructs it to its duties so that it can complete whatever task the parent leaves unfinished.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess because I think of some of these more angel-like creatures,
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're just like created
Sure.
like this, just
Yeah.
like they're spawned by whatever, and not like it is a physical creature that like will have to go out and do it in order to like to further itself. And does it, and because of the ending where it's like the parent that sought out the mate, it kind of makes it sound like they only ever try to have kids if they have unfinished business. Like they have things they need to do. I got to go have a kid. And and it doesn't matter who physically has the kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I'm going to be taking the kid because I have something I need to do.
Right.
Which is like,
Well, and
you know,
the way it's laid out here to me screams of like there are only a certain number of them, and so they're not going to just blindly like make a bunch of them. They are like, I have a purpose. I know I am going to die, so I need to have something else to take that over. That's the only reason. There's also a line also in the like ancient and few section where they say they can live for ages without sustenance, even surviving without air, but these creatures can die of disease or the passage of time. A koala can sense its end up to a century beforehand, but it has no insight into the manner of its demise.
mm,
That's wild. I love that.
yeah,
Um,
that's so, there's so, it's so like, they have to like, they accept their fate the way it
mhm,
says it. You know what I mean? It's it's a lot. And I
mhm,
think this is definitely like the kind of creature where it's, I think the way you described the way dragons should be, like they're
mhm.
intelligent, and it's when you look at this, you're like, okay, you know, flying snake monster.
Yeah,
You know, it's, you look at the intelligence, it is smart, and
it is a
wisdom,
smart
it's
creature. Yeah.
20. You know, it's an up there creature. So, and for like challenge rating 4, I think like having 220s, like it's all positives. It is
Mhm.
like, it is up there, but it's everything else it gets is to not hurt.
Yeah.
It can
And
bite, it can constrict, but that's not what it wants to do.
I think that is what really stands out here for me is that they are a challenge rating 4 with very good stats.
Like crazy stats,
A
yeah.
a pretty good armor class, decent hit points. They can fly, they can speak every language. They have
Mhm.
spell casting, they can shape change. Like they are not like they're not nothing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this is a pretty impressive creature. Um, they also, I don't know if you saw their bite attack.
Hmm.
Their bite attack is +8 to hit. It only does a d6 +5 of piercing damage. But the target has to succeed on a DC 13 Constitution saving throw or be poisoned for 24 hours. Until the poison ends, the target is unconscious. Another creature can use an action to shake the target awake. Like,
And I know why that, I know why that is like that, because um and I think I saw it used this way, was once a day it can use dream, greater restoration, or
mhm,
scrying. I think it's one of those things where even if like, you know, let's say you could overpower it, you know, and it's like I can in a dream, you know, the person, you know, it's kind of like, oh well, in the dream world I'm even crazier. So it's like I bite you, you
mhm,
go to sleep, I'm gonna use dream, and I'm gonna go in your dream, I'm gonna Freddy Cougar you, go in your dream to like spend as much time as we can,
yeah,
unless somebody wakes you up. Then do you do inception rules where it's time is much longer in the
mhm,
dream type of thing.
yeah,
um but do you feel that it is like combating as far as it's I'm stuck with just looking at numbers and visuals
mhm.
and then every all the other things. So do you think it's one of those, it forces a DM to go outside their box. It gives them a really creative NPC, or it just pigeonholes them to. It's like, oh, this can only be used in a very specific context, or it's like, well, if I do anything other than these things, it's not right. Like, what do you think? How do you feel as far as usability? Where do you think how
I
easily can
think
somebody use this?
incredibly useful. Like the if you have a an artifact, a relic, a
Mhm.
like anything that you're like, this is something that I want to be protected. This is something that I want like a guardian of.
Mhm.
These are incredibly useful and incredibly interesting characters.
Mhm.
There's a line in the Divine Caretakers, I think, where it says, dun.
They were
Most
created
of,
as
most
guardians.
of them, most divine mandates given to these beings are long since fulfilled or failed. However, a number of Coatl still watch over ancient powers, await fulfillments of prophecies, or safeguard the heirs of creatures they once guided and protected. Regardless of a Coatl's task, it prefers to remain hidden, revealing itself only as a last resort. I think the thought of having just like, this is an NPC, like there's an NPC that has like a bodyguard with it, or like a mentor or a tutor or something like
Mhm.
that, where it's just like, this is a person who like will play a part in something down the line, and they're just like along for the ride. They could be somebody who uh like the tutor who hires you to do the escort mission of
Mhm.
like protecting somebody as they are like traveling, and then like there's more to them. It's just this hidden thing that you can then start unraveling. I think they are so interesting, and have like good abilities, and to have a creature like this that is like it's going to be able to hold its own,
Yeah.
um but also is not set up to just be, I'm going to destroy
Correct.
the party, I'm going to deal damage. Like this creature is something that will want to aid the party if it can,
Mhm.
um and if it can't, it'll let the party know that, and it'll like,
Correct. Yeah.
it's a very interesting dynamic there.
Yeah. It it's one of those where if you want to use it in some different way, you can use anything in a different way. It The more you look at it, as long as if you're just skimming, you're gonna like, miss out on so much. But I think it actually does do a job of, for the person that just skims something, I think they can infer a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think by just knowing it can do these spells, they can go, this guy isn't somebody that's going to try to fight or wants to fight because it can't do that.
Yeah.
Um, so it's still something that is very usable. Um, and then if you do dig into it, then you can give that more purpose. You can give them more meaning behind what they're doing. So if
Mm-hmm.
you were to like just kind of like shove it in somewhere, you can still kind of like go, oh, well, that's going to give me more potential threads that if
Yeah.
I wanted to go down. So it's one of those, you can plop them in somewhere. If you were to use it in a combat or something like that, then it's kind of like, oh, something corrupted it, and then
Yeah.
you still have more plot threads to go,
Yeah.
because like all the background stuff. So it gives you so many things that it can do based off of just it,
Yeah.
or what it can lead to. So it's definitely up there. It
M-
Mhm.
my the other thing that I'm noticing is
Mhm.
like fly speed of 90.
Mhm.
Like it has shield, and can cure wounds. Like it can cure wounds itself. It could cure wounds
Mhm.
somebody else. It has shield. Um, fly speed of 90 and shielded mind, which means that it's immune to scrying and the effects that would allow it to sense its emotion, read its thoughts, or detect its location.
Yep.
Which means that if your party does decide to attack it,
Mm-hmm.
it'll get away. It
Mm-hmm.
is it is so fast. Like it can fly 180 feet around if it wants to, and like disappear. If you try and like sleep on it, it has good saves. If you try
Mm-hmm.
and like attack it, it has shield. It can cure wounds itself. It also has both greater and lesser restoration. So like if you do something to it that it needs to like restore itself, it
Mm-hmm.
can. Like this is a creature that if you have players that are going to like charge in and just like hack through all of the defenses to like get this artifact that has been locked away that like nobody should have. This is a creature that can serve as a guardian and then like get away if they attack
Yeah.
it. If
You
they
can't
if
you
they
can't just
fail
take it out
to
like that.
like
Yeah.
heed its warnings, it can be like, okay, I'm out, and it dips and then comes back with like
Mm-hmm.
reinforcements. Because this creature also has scrying,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be very familiar with the artifact that it is guarding or whatever it is guarding, so it'll be able to like find you again.
Also, imagine this thing as like a support for something that is more dangerous.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the versatility. Do we just want to go straight to S, or do you want to
I'm
lowball
feeling
it
I'm
A?
feeling
Where do
S
you?
tier. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. Let's go. Let's keep going. Because that one it's interesting. The next one I feel like we're getting into more like it's an angel. But it's
Yeah.
a Deva. I've used a Deva. I've actually interchanged Devas and one of the other ones on this list, the Planetars, the blue guys we're gonna get to.
Mhm.
I've done them like back and forth. It's kind of like I Pokemon evolution, Deva, Planetars, and Solars. But it is an angel. It's an angel.
It
Like
is.
that, that it has a whole lot of it's got good stats and stuff like that. It's got commune and raise dead.
Mhm.
But it is just kind of like I'm gonna smash you with a mace.
Yes.
It could heal itself or other things, and it can change stuff. Lawful good if you play it that way. If but with lawful good, it's kind of like I have to do what's right. So
Mhm.
with it's a quaddle with this one. It's kind of like you're gonna get one that's gonna be the more conversationalist, and one that's gonna be like I'm gonna smash you away if you don't like this is like I have to keep you from releasing this evil type of thing.
Mhm.
So this one's one that you can see is definitely more inclined to smash things, despite like quaddles statistically are not they both it's a little stronger, but it's still quaddles stronger too. But this one is like it's got weapons. It's an agent sent forth into the planes to further its god's agendas for
Mhm.
weal or woe. So it is I think I heard somebody say it's like almost like they're just divine constructs. Like they're
Mhm.
made for this thing and they're supposed to just be like, this is it. Uh how do you feel about Deva's? Boring,
I
switched up with other things, used a lot. What do you think?
so I do think Deva is like this is when I think angel, it's a
Mhm,
Deva.
mhm,
And I agree with you. Like Deva, Planetar, Solar. Like I don't feel like there's a whole lot of difference between the three of them, other than like the level at which you will encounter them.
mhm,
The I'm looking through like yeah, because there's like even in the like description of them,
mhm,
it's just the like that first section there of like they're angels that act as divine messengers or ancient agents to the material plane, the Shadowfell, and the Feywild, and they can assume a form appropriate to the realm they are sent to. Legend tells of angels that take mortal form for years, lending aid, hope, and courage to good-hearted folks. A Deva can take on any shape, although it prefers to appear as a mortal, as an innocuous humanoid or animal. When circumstances require that it cast off its guise, a Deva is a beautiful humanoid-like creature with silvery skin, Its hair and eyes gleam with an unearthly luster, and large feathery wings unfurl from its shoulder blades. But then there's like 4 paragraphs after that that is just on angels.
Correct.
Like
And the
there's
other ones have the
they have
exact
the
same
exact
thing.
same additional information. So to me, like, yeah, devas are good. Like they are good creatures. They've got some spell casting, not a lot of spell casting. They have detect good and evil, commune, and raise dead. Like those are their abilities. I think that like the fact that they have once per day that they can just raise dead is very interesting to me, of just like this deva that is in like the guise of some like old medicine woman or something like that, that is just kind of like going around and like, oh, they're not dead yet, and just kind of like raising dead is very interesting to me. I think there's some good like some good plot hooks that can be made off of that. I do think that they are uh less interesting to me than the Coatl.
So
Um,
are they just below the Quaddle, or if we think about it, like the other ones are going to be pretty much close to the same thing. They just get
mhm,
more deadly. Um, and I feel like what somebody might end up doing is, if they describe whatever NPC they're going to describe them as, if they ever progress them throughout the campaign, they're just
mhm,
going to end up using a higher stat block and
sure,
keep the same thing anyway. Um, so it's kind of like, these are divine messengers. That's what this one's supposed to be, the distinction between the other
right.
ones. So this is just a messenger boy. So does that kind of make it? Like I said, there's only a certain amount of ones in the basic rules. There's plenty of
Right. Oh,
celestials,
there's
and you can go.
and we should
Correct.
reiterate, we are
Yeah, we're
only
just
talking
going
about the
basic
basic
rules right
rules
here.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think that this is just like middle of the pack, where it's like,
To
it's not bad, but it's
No,
not
it's not
like,
bad. To me,
yeah,
this is a like strong B tier.
yeah,
Like it is a good creature. It is like, this is, if we were ranking creatures based off of do they have a good stat block,
yeah,
this is a high contender.
yeah,
Because we are specifically talking about like what makes them interesting, or there are things there that are going to be like unique and different, and right off the bat, they majority of the information on their page is duplicated on other character sheet, or
right, yeah.
other creatures. They're not unique, they're not like super specific. I also find it kind of stupid that they are divine messengers or agents to the material plane, Shadowfell, or Feywild. Those are the only 3 places they go. Like, there are so many planes.
Mm-hmm.
There's so like that. You're telling me I will never find a deva on like one of the elemental planes, the astral sea, the like nothing. I will not find them there. Okay, that's fine. It's just weird to me that there's a
Yeah.
specified. They only go to like the core 3. They don't go anywhere else.
Mhm. When it comes to the, like, I was gonna flip flop and go to like in alphabetical order, but like, since we're just on the angels one
Yeah,
right
you want to
now,
just move through the
uh,
angels?
yeah, if we go to Planetar, I was
Yeah,
just gonna be like, okay, this is more of a weapon. So this is you automatically have to go, well, there's something backing it, there's something
right.
behind it. So it's gonna give you some
Let,
different plot threads and
let's
stuff right
let's
there.
do this, because I feel like they're going to be like, they're all 3 of them are going to be ranked similarly, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So a deva, we've established they are the, I scrolled on the wrong page. There we go. I apologize
Okay.
to our
Mhm.
watchers. Devas are divine messengers or agents that are sent to the material plane, Shadowfell, and Feywild. Planetars are a challenge rating 16, so they go up 6 challenge ratings. Planetars act as a weapon of the gods that they serve, presenting a tangible representation of their deity's might. A planetar can call down rain to relieve a drought, or can loose an insect plague to devour crops. A planetar's celestial ears detect every falsehood, and its radiant eyes can see through every deception. Planetars are muscular and hairless, have opalescent green skin and white feathered wings. They tower over most humanoids, brandishing immense weapons or immense swords with grace, sometimes sent to aid powerful mortals or important tasks. For good, planetars are especially fond of missions that involve battling fiends. Right off the bat, more interesting to me.
Yes. This shows a few things, because this one implies it cares about something. It has a preference of something.
This
it gives
one,
it almost like it could have a personality.
Yes. That I was gonna say the exact same thing. This, they say it enjoys battling against fiends. That is a clear, like, this thing has a something that is
a disposition
driving them.
It's lawful
something
good,
that
but
they
it is
like.
And what's also kind of cool here is that if you wanted to play loosey goosey with the definition of good, then I think this is such a great like door guardian type of situation, like very difficult, because of it can detect planetary celestial ears can detect every falsehood, and its radiant eyes can see through every deception.
Yep.
So it's one of those.
It has divine awareness. The planetar knows if it hears a lie. There's no point in rolling a deception check. Planetars just know if you are lying to them.
And it would definitely be fun to play something like that in front of one of those groups that want to go around it in some way, shape, or form. But it is challenge rating 16, so it is one that you are only using later in the game, or as like a really cool NPC that you don't want to mess with them.
Right.
And then if your party doesn't get the hint, it's because it's lawful good. It'll most likely not kill them.
Yeah, but as long as they're good.
Yeah. But
I would say good and lawful. Like,
I think that it would know that the right thing to do is not kill you.
Sure.
But I'm going to teach you a lesson, so that way you grow from this. So it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
And it's one of those like knock you down to zero all over type of things.
I could absolutely see a situation in which a planetar is like the like looking at a group of like adventurers who have just attacked the planetar, or like done something that requires the planetar to fight them, and the planetar being like, I am going to destroy them, and like taking out these people, and like let's say it's a group of 5, okay. In this scenario, group of 5 adventurers, that's standard adventuring party size. Group of 5 adventurers fighting a planetar. One of them is like a paladin or a cleric or something like that, right? Planetar takes out 4 of the party members, leaving the paladin, and is like, the reason they're dead is because you have failed as the moral compass here.
Oh, wow.
You need to do better. You need to be like, it is on your shoulder. Their actions are on your shoulders because you did not stop them. As a champion of the gods, you need to be doing better.
Oof.
And then he has 3 times per day raise dead. So he raises 3 of the 4 that he just killed.
Ooh.
And leaves one of them as like, this one is the worst of them. And you need to have something that shows what you have, like, why what you have done is a problem. or makes the paladin choose which of the three get to come back, and one of them stays dead as a reminder of what you've done. Like choose which one is not going to be brought back. Like that's a horrifying thing to put onto a player in the middle of a game. Like you have to be real close with your players in order to pull that sort of shit. But like I could like that is a lawful good in a certain perspective of like this one is evil, so or this one is like chaotic neutral, and so in killing them, I have ensured that law continues, and I have ensured that good is more likely to thrive. By like setting an example of this one dying, I have ensured that the paladin is more likely to stay on his like true course and continue. Like that to me is a very, very interesting storyline to play out, because then you have like a paladin who has the choice of like, do I like rededicate myself to the cause and like continue and like they're right, I should be drawing people like closer, or do I go, if that is the like the model of what I'm trying to be, I don't want that, and like now I'm Oathbreaker, or something like that, and like changing the direction. Either way, you are setting a fork in the road in front of that character to make a choice, which I love. David Jones in the chat says that's a chaotic evil DM. I am chaotic good.
I'm lawful chaotic. So check it out. What if, hear me out.
Sure.
I almost want to pitch a twofer right here.
Okay.
Because so we want to say that this is better than a Deva, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I glance at the next one, it's a godlike
Solar is
godlike
my
and glory and
favorite.
Power. And there's 24. Apparently, it said that only 24 exist. So that
really?
gives you yes. It says that it is said that only 24 Solars exist. The few Solars that are known are stewards of specific deities. The others are in a state rest. The others rest in a state of contemplation, waiting for the time when their services are needed to stave off some cosmic threat to the cause of good.
Ooh,
so that either leaves them
that's very
to
interesting.
deities that are not like that are like, nah, unless I call you, don't. Or that it's like my favorite paladin is the paladin of glory, where it's like it's just to an ideal, not specifically any. So it's like these are cosmic entities that are to a thing. So if like something is going to end reality, that's when Jethro, this one comes up, the Solar. He's just like, I've awakened, or he's decided, because he's contemplating. He's just like, sure, like, okay, but it doesn't give you that. It doesn't give you that it almost like the personality trait that the other one does. So the other one I feel like gives you more options because you could put something behind it. It's more likely to be encountered because it's a lower challenge rating. A challenge rating 21 means you're only putting it in there if you or your players are at that level, or you just want like, well, this is it. You know what I mean? You can mess with the stats, but it can just do a lot. It has a flying sword. It has this crazy, like it can just do a lot.
It can do a lot of things.
It can teleport. It can just do so many things.
It can do resurrection 3 times a day.
Yeah, it does a lot of really cool things, and it has legendary actions. So it is a boss.
Yes.
But is it a boss that they're fighting as lawful good again? So is it like something that's more of an ally helping you group fight a Tarask or something?
Yeah.
It's one of those.
I can 100% see like imagine multiple of these showing up at the same time. Like if 2 of these showed up at the same time and you know anything about Celestials, you'll be like, oh, like this is bad. Like almost a tenth of the like solars in existence
Yeah.
have showed up to try and prevent this thing.
So it kind of, because of the high level
Hmm.
that it requires to play, it it kind of limits it in my book.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I was
As far
I
as
was going to make
versatility.
the same argument that they are too powerful to
Yeah.
be in super useful.
When something is
Um,
that strong, it limits its use case, and it kind of, and not that it makes it less interesting,
Mhm.
but like usability is, I feel like, something that we put
We
in our
value.
ranking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's what knocks it down, and not that it's not dope, but as far as like what people can use or might find interesting in their games more often than not.
Yeah.
So
A solar to me is like as close as a party would ever come to fighting a god
yeah.
in most games. Like if I were to make like a stat block for like a deity that they had to fight, I would probably use the solar's stat block to start
Mhm.
with.
So
Um,
this being said, just going off of these things, Deva is a planetar better than a Deva.
yes.
Is it a full category above a Deva, or just above it in the same vein?
I think of the so here's my reasoning here. I think Planetar is A class. Solar and Devas are B class. Um, and my reasoning here is that a Planetar has that one line in there that
Yeah.
they want to fight demons. They want to go into that battle to like fight against fiends. Um,
Mhm.
the which gives them a little bit more personality on the others, and a little bit more of a like this. They are a weapon that enjoys being
Yeah.
used.
Well,
Um,
here's the thing. My thing is, I agree with the Planetar being an A, but does that mean that middle ground B is Deva and Solar, or should Solar be B and then Deva be C? Because it's one of those that B
see,
for a Deva is like middle of the ground. Yeah, you need an angel, you can put it down anywhere. Or, oh, you need a boss, you can just
yeah,
use this boss. So that's why it's like I can argue that they're both Bs.
you absolutely could. I'm actually because you said solar is B, Deva is C. I'm actually of the opposite opinion.
That's what I'm saying. I can
I
see
think
the
that
other the way here. They could both be Bs, or
I think a Deva is better than a solar. Like I've used a solar for things before, but like I've never used a solar as written.
that's what I mean.
I've always used them as like I'm
Yeah,
reskinning it to be something else. I just need a stat block.
correct. Yeah.
Whereas a Deva, I think it's a challenge rating 10, which means
Yeah.
you put a couple of these into a fight, they're going to be brutal for most groups. Um, I think a Deva has a larger use case and is more interesting than a solar, because a solar is at like it doesn't have it doesn't have the shape change thing. It doesn't go and like live amongst like people. It doesn't have like something that drives them to anything crazy. Their spell casting is definitely a step up from Planetar, but not like in any crazy way. Like they're not doing crazy spells. They're just like they have legendary actions. They're throwing like their sword off to fight on its own, that sort of thing. And so to me, I would go. I think Deva is a high B class, and I think Solar is a low B class.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I mean, that I can vibe with that. These last two
They're
are
so to just
okay. Yeah.
final point.
Uh,
Solar is too powerful to be practically useful in
correct.
almost every game. The
Yeah.
majority of players are never going to be fighting challenge rating 21 creatures,
Yeah.
which means that they are almost exclusively going to be used in the majority of use cases as reflavored to something else where they've lost some of their stuff, or they are going to be used as a something that is uh, like just a
You're,
messenger,
yeah,
like they're like, which is use a deva, like,
yeah,
but like
yeah.
I've been in a game where the DM had a solar show up at like level 5 to like deliver like this ultimatum of the gods of like, this is a thing you must go and do and pursue this quest and like that sort of thing. It's like, there's no reason for a solar to do that. A solar is one of 24 elite warriors of the heavens. Like, they are
Mhm.
just sitting around waiting to be called into action.
Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah. No, I'm here with it. That makes
Okay.
sense. I'm cool with this. Um, now let's just go we have two horses, right?
To me, one
One
of
is
these fits better than the other.
um yes. No, actually both of them don't for me.
You think neither of these fit into the celestial category in your brain?
Yes. So
What
the first one is
one of
Pegasus, right?
Pegasus is the one that fits for me. Like,
Now Pegasus doesn't, only because when it says it's born of the plains, Pegasi trace their origins to the Olympian glades of Arborea, and they soar through the sky. So it's the Olympian glades of, like, I'm not as familiar with
mhm,
that plane.
mhm,
But it just makes them better horses, right? They're
yeah,
just like fancy horses, right?
yeah,
So since I'm not familiar enough with that region or anything like
mhm,
that, does that mean there's no other creatures that are born there? Because then I would think like, oh, anything born there would be celestial then, and there we don't get any of that. So it's kind of like, why are they celestials? You know what I mean? It's one thing
yeah,
if they were created by deities to be their mounts. It does say noble mounts, they're highly prized,
mhm,
and you can't convince it. I mean, like, you can't break it or tame it. You have to convince a Pegasus to be your mount. But it says like they compare them to griffins, hippogriffs, and wyverns. So it's kind of like they're just putting them in the category of mounts.
yeah,
They're beasts. They're
yeah,
like fancy celestial beasts. But like I'm like, why aren't there others then? At that point,
sure,
it opens more questions and whatnot. So I would have put this one in the same category as I would put the second one, where there's going to be a unicorn we're going to talk about. I would have thought they were both Fae,
sure.
but that's not
You
what's happening.
Unicorn to me absolutely is Fae.
Correct.
Pegasus, I think of like the Valkyrie and stuff like that on these like flying
Yeah.
horses. Like they're very like these noble things. I did pull up because it's the Olympian Glades of or Arborea.
Mhm.
Arborea is a plane larger than life, a plane of violent moods and deep affections, of whim backed by steel, and of passions that blaze brightly until they burn out. Its good-natured inhabitants are dedicated to fighting evil, but their reckless emotions sometimes break free with devastating consequences. Rage is as common and as honored as joy. The mountains and forests are extravagantly massive and beautiful, and every glade and stream is inhabited by nature spirits that brook no infringement. Travelers must tread lightly. Arborea is the home of many elves and elven deities. Elves born on this plane have the celestial type and are wild at heart, ready to battle evil in a heartbeat. Otherwise, they look and behave like normal elves. There's also an optional rule that is listed here called Intense Yearning. Keep track of how many days a visitor spends in Arborea. When the visitor leaves, it must make a charisma saving throw against a DC of 5 plus 1 for every day spent on the plane. On a failed save, the creature becomes afflicted with a yearning to return. As long as the effect persists, the creature has disadvantage on ability checks, and at the end of each long rest, the creature can repeat the saving throw, ending the effect on a success. A dispel evil and good spell removes the effect from this creature.
This is just like Olympus flavored Feywild.
Yeah.
Right? Am I oversimplifying it?
No,
I mean, it seems like
to
it.
me that very much is like Thor's home of Asgard meets the
Yeah,
Feywild.
yeah,
Like it is the like yeah, I think it is the god Feywild is
yeah.
essentially what
It's
that sounds like to me.
but it like we don't it. You'd have to search for something like that because
Hmm.
it's not like anything that is just clearly that you can just. It's a noble steed. They mate for life.
Hmm.
And they're really prized horses that you have to convince and you can't just buy or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just a fancy horse. So I mean,
It's
do we?
it's not just a fancy horse. A fancy horse would be like
It's a smart
just
horse. It's a smart horse that can
it's a
fly.
very smart horse.
It's a really smart. It's a regular as human smart horse that can fly.
Yeah, I mean
So
it's not a crazy powerful creature, but
yeah,
like
yeah, 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 yeah,
it
yeah.
is like this is a celestial creature.
Mhm.
Like they I do think it's very funny that they mention that they have nests. They build
Yeah,
their nests in hard to reach locations. I love the concept of a horse with branches in its mouth
yeah,
just
yeah,
flying
yeah.
up to a cliffside to build a nest. Um the they are like uh they are just very like yeah, they're like I'll say very fancy horses.
Yes.
They're not just horses. They're clearly beyond just horses. But they are like intriguing to me. Like I like the thought of um they are they're wild and shy, they're intelligent as people, so they can't be
Mhm.
traditionally broken and tamed. A
Yeah,
Pegasus must be persuaded to serve a good aligned creature as a
correct.
mount, but when it does so, it forms a lifelong bond with that new companion. So they are making a like you are
It's a
bonding
commitment.
with this
Yeah,
creature. If you have a Pegasus as a mount, you are its
that's it.
rider and it
Yeah.
is your mount
Hmm.
forever.
Yeah.
I think that is very, very interesting.
That is the
Um,
only thing keeping it from D for me
I
because
am
it's like it gives it
perfectly okay
something.
putting it into a C class creature. I don't think they're underused. I don't think there's a whole lot here that is super interesting. They don't have like any like crazy abilities or anything like that. Like they only have one action. It's hooves. They have a fly speed. It's 90, which isn't crazy for a fly speed.
Hmm.
Like they're yeah, they're
Yeah,
cool, but they're like
I I would have given it.
as far as
Mhm.
celestials go,
Correct.
they're not anything interesting.
Yeah, I would have.
I'm
Yeah,
even okay moving them to a D tier.
it's the fact that they have the persuasion part and the fact that you could maybe do something with nests, or
Hmm.
if you really wanted to go down the rabbit hole of where they're from.
Sure.
If you or you could just say that somebody bred them or somebody got
Hmm.
one, whatever it is, but it because it's not nothing. That's the only
Right.
reason I was like, I could see use cases and usability, or you could just use it as a fancy horse,
Sure.
or you could use it for stuff. So that's why I'm like, it's not nothing
My
in my brain.
my thought here is if we were to rank it across like other things,
Yeah.
if it was up against other
Mhm.
stuff, it's absolutely not a D tier. As far as celestials go, it is a
Correct.
D tier celestial.
There we go. Yeah. I would have done things like maybe given it like some sort of minimal telepathic bond
Hmm.
with like the person it's bonded with.
Sure.
So it's like maybe you don't understand word for word, but you can convey emotions and feelings
Yeah.
like a pseudo familiar type of
Hmm.
situation. Maybe giving it some resistances to something because if it's
Resistance would be
celestial,
useful. Yeah.
a celestial makes me imply that it has some sort of divinity
Yeah.
that in it, but
Yeah.
it's with nothing there. It's
I
just it understands celestial. So
I would give it a resistance to radiant damage.
yeah, yeah,
I would give it like a once per day like ability to heal.
Hmm.
Like even if it's just like a cure wounds where it just like it if it chooses to, it can press its head up against you and like give you a cure wounds. Give it a some sort of like wing thing, like a knockback of like
Yeah.
it takes to the air, and um everybody within like melee of it has to make a DC, even if it's low, like a DC 10
Yeah.
strength save,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
or
Hmm.
be knocked prone, and then like give it the ability to like it with from anybody who is knocked prone, it doesn't provoke opportunity attacks or something like that.
I was literally gonna say some sort of like divine flyby or
Hmm.
divine like swiftness where it's like it doesn't provoke opportunity attacks.
Hmm.
That would make it like so dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like
I
by the grace of gods, it just kind of
yeah.
gets past things.
I think the thought process here, kind of like the Coatl of like, this is not a combative creature. This is a
Oh yeah.
creature like it says right in there that they are they're shy. They where was the other one? Any sound or sign of another creature startles them, sending them off to fly once more amongst the clouds.
Mhm.
So like they are skittish creatures by nature.
Yeah.
And so I think that they've intentionally given them very little as far as combat goes so that people aren't like putting them into combat. There's no reason to
Mhm.
put a Pegasus into combat because they're just not interested in that.
Okay.
Um,
So I'm okay with D. Now let's just put the unicorn at S, and because we don't have another hour to talk about the nonsense that is a unicorn.
a unicorn is absurd.
It
Um,
is mind numbing. The like it's not just that it is. I always tell this story of a unicorn was accidentally put into a game of mine, and somebody that is like a rules lawyer
mhm,
friend was very upset because he's like, don't you know what a unicorn do? You know how dangerous these things are? And I was like,
mhm,
what are you talking about? And on paper, if you ignored the lawful good part, this thing is dangerous.
yeah.
It is it why does it have teleport? I don't know, but it can teleport, right?
Not only can it can teleport itself and up to 3 willing creatures it can see within 5 feet of it, along with any equipment they're wearing and carrying, to a location the unicorn is familiar with up to a mile away.
Nuts. So teleportation alone, right? Let's just say
Mhm,
let's just put it at D, right? And then I'm like teleportation brings it up a notch, right? It can cast random spells. Sure, let's put
mhm.
it up one more. Legendary actions. Oh,
Yes.
well, why not? Let's put it up another one, right?
And
And then it's
also the legendary actions are interesting. Like
mhm.
they're not just basic legendary actions. They are like yeah, legendary action, it makes a hoof attack.
I
Uh
think this is what people
but
do, I think, anyway, like when they want to like jazz up like something that has extra
mhm,
juice. It's like you give it like pseudo legendary actions.
yeah.
So yeah, it's getting like an
But
extra hoof
it
attack.
has shimmering shield. It creates
Yeah.
a shimmering shield around it. The it gets a +2 bonus to AC until the end of the
Hmm.
unicorn's next turn. It has the ability to heal itself
Yep.
using its legendary actions.
Hmm.
It's not a lot of healing, but it is
Yep.
healing. Like this thing is, to a low level party, horrifying.
Yeah. And it's a
If
challenge
you
rating
have
5. It's
yeah,
a 5 and it's nuts.
if you have a like if you have ever ran a all evil campaign, uh low levels, throw a unicorn at them. This thing is terrifying.
And here's where
uh
you can play with the lawful good part. So stat block alone brings it up craziness, right?
mhm.
But then it's got a layer,
It
and
has I was
it's
just
like it
looking
doesn't
at it.
have layer actions necessarily, but it kind of does because it says that there is a layer involvement in some way, shape, or
Yeah,
form with there.
well,
And then
it has regional effects, which
yeah,
means that
yeah,
the
it's like a
presence of
dragon.
a unicorn changes the landscape it
Yes.
lives in.
So there's that, and then then like they're guardians, so they
Mhm.
have like some sort of story, they protect something.
Yep.
So if your party needs to get something from somewhere that that unicorn was guarding, it's going to try to kill them. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
what there is. Like, no, lawful is like rules, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like, I'm supposed to protect this, you're not supposed to take it,
Right.
so no.
There's
But
also there's a line here that I had never seen before,
Mhm.
which does, like I said, Pegasus makes sense to me for like a celestial because I think of like Valkyries.
yeah, I think I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But like I think immediately upon reading this line, my position flips because I had forgotten this from unicorn
Mhm.
lore for 5e. Good deities place
Yeah.
unicorns on the material plane to ward away evil and preserve, protect sacred places. They usually protect a bounded realm, such as an enchanted forest. However, the gods sometimes send a unicorn to guard sacred artifacts or protect specific creatures. When the forces of darkness strike against an individual the gods wish to protect, they might send that individual to a unicorn's forest where evil creatures pursue at their peril.
It's like that. That's what a Deva should have had. You know what I mean? Like a
Yeah.
Deva's like very specific, and then the Planetar is like the amped up one. It's like this one's very passive. If you need to trigger it, you know they'll do it. But then Planetar is up there. But yeah, this has the little nugget that Pegasus didn't have. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, just something to go like it was placed there. It was created by for. You know what I mean? It's like if owlbears were originally created and then prospered on their own.
Mhm.
Like just a little nugget of like originally an angel's mount or originally to pull the chariots of angels and then put free and then they just kind of bred on their own. Like okay, they descended from a thing that was a celestial creation. Yeah, no, this just has a whole lot of stuff and it's statistically crazy. The implications of the layer stuff is nuts.
Mhm.
The guardian part is crazy. Forest lords,
Forest Lords is amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't see how this is like
no,
this doesn't give you a million possibilities.
this is the top of S tier. It is
Yeah.
like this is the best. Like I want to very quickly read through just the regional effects of a unicorn's lair, which is the transformed by the creature's celestial presence. The domain of a unicorn may include any of the following magical effects. Opened flame of a non-magical nature are extinguished within the unicorn's domains. Torches and campfires refuse to burn, but closed lanterns are unaffected. Creatures native to the unicorn's domain have an easier time hiding. They have advantage on all dexterity stealth checks made to hide. When a good aligned creature casts a spell or uses a magical effect that causes another good aligned creature to regain hit points, the target regains the maximum number of hit points possible for the spell or effect. Curses affecting any good aligned creature are suppressed well in the domain. That is so cool. This is amazing. Unicorns are incredible. Love them so much. They have so much cool stuff here. Like 100% top S tier for me.
Yeah.
Um,
I know that I don't think it says it here, but I saw somebody's interpretation of the forest lord
Mhm.
aspect of this, where it's like it's the forest is calm. There's like a balance, and I think it's one of those Lion King situations where some things are going to eat some things, or some things are
Right.
going to die, but as long as there's no imbalance. So it's one of those things where if a hunter goes to hunt in a forest and they're just trying to get a rabbit to feed their family or something
Mhm.
like that, a unicorn isn't necessarily going to, I'm going to destroy this thing.
Right.
It's if you go into this realm, it's not like, oh, you done did it now. It's you have to upset things.
Right.
You have to mess things up, and the unicorn goes, okay, I let you come into my house.
Right.
And you done messed up here.
Well, and same thing would go for like if a company comes in and starts like logging the forest, like that's gonna get shut down real quick. But like if it's just somebody like wanders into the woods and is like picking up sticks to be able to like make a fire to keep themselves warm in the winter, like the unicorn's not going to go after them for that. Like the unicorn is lawful good. So it understands the law of their woods, and it also understands the good of like what needs to happen.
There's also a fun aspect of this thing where it is like it makes it that it's always under the service of its god, because of the blessed mounts section, where it's like it basically is like, you're like, oh, can anybody ride this thing? And like, oh, do I have to convince it like I would a Pegasus? Like, no. If there is something up, if there's something going on, and a deity is like, oh man, this is real serious. Hey, I have a paladin out there. They're gonna phone up a unicorn, right? They're
Yeah.
gonna phone up their unicorn and go like, hey, Charlie, I need you to head over here. I have a paladin that's gonna need a ride. I need you to back this guy up. And then this paladin's gonna get assigned a unicorn.
Yeah.
I need to check real quick. Does it talk? It knows certain languages, and it can talk telepathy. So that's what I would have done for a Pegasus too, where I would have given Pegasus the celestial mount thing, where it's like they're assigned almost. So it's almost like a celestial breeder. Like you can only get it if you like, service like give like, if you provide service, or like, you do something in tribute. I would have made it that like, the unicorns are like the top rank, like they're up there, and then Pegasus are like, our soldiers have these, and also people on our service, and we'll provide it to others that offer tribute type of thing.
Yeah, if you are a high ranking member of like a high ranking paladin of the temple,
correct. Yeah,
you can probably get a Pegasus. But if you like, a unicorn is only assigned when it is absolutely needed.
Correct.
I think you give a Pegasus 10% of the stuff that is on the unicorn page, and it will move up at least one tier.
No, 1000%. I think like the telepathy, doesn't even have to be anything crazy with like
give it one use of the healing touch per day. Give it a give it the charge thing. Give it like there's so much that you can do with it. But like that's why Pegasus is at the bottom and Unicorn is at the top, is that they're like the ends of the spectrum. Because it bothers me when we have blanks sections.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I have moved Solar down to C class. Since nothing else stepped into that spot. I think it is important to have a scale. And if we're saying that like Deva was high B and Solar is low B, there's nothing in C, which makes C low B.
So what does C stand for then?
C stands for celestials that you just don't need in your game. And D stands for don't even bother putting this celestial in your game.
That's good. Fancy.
So that puts our ranking at Unicorn and Coatl in S class. Planetar is A, Deva is B, Solar is C, and Pegasus as D. Which is, if I had just looked at them and been like, yeah, I think they're here, not where I would have expected this to end up.
I think I would have put Unicorn lower. I think I would have put Unicorn at an A, only because I knew it was crazy. But then the more I dove into it, I was like, oh crap, yeah, this is nuts. Coatl, like the stat block is like cool, and it gives you the other things that if you dove into it, it kind of gives you that vibe anyway. So that's why it's like one of those, you can use it a lot of different ways. If you're trying to get a combat creature, then no. But even then, if you did put this in a combat situation,
it could hold its own.
Interesting. It could hold its own. Yeah.
The Coatl is the one for me where I'm like, it is another example of a creature that is not necessarily optimized for most situations. But it is so interesting and unique and has that lore behind it that it
Mhm.
immediately becomes uh something that I want to put into my game. And to me, any creature that in reading the stat block, I am filled with ideas of how I can use them for my game, or like full quest lines that can revolve around a
Yep.
creature like that.
Mhm.
If I get there from reading the stat block, that is a high class of monster for me.
Yep. All right.
I'm comfortable with this listing.
Me too.
Okay.
All right. We
I
did it.
will
We
save
did it.
it.
All right. We're going to chop the lists down. we're gonna chop the list down, or figure. I don't think this was too long, but I know that some of the ones that are longer are gonna be nuts. So,
Dude,
but
we pulled up like demons.
God,
That's a long ass list. We've
yeah. Oh
got
no,
there's
we're
a
gonna
few of
group
them
them.
that are
We're gonna have
probably going to have to be like we're either going to have to go, okay, all of these ones.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do some groups, or just choose like these are the ones of like these are mentioned so often. This
Mhm.
is like the thing they all reference blank,
Yeah.
so like this is gonna have to go to here.
We also had a
Um,
conversation about dragons because there's so many types of dragons, and then also
yeah,
the different like size categories. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think where we ended up on that is that we're gonna do uh, two parts for dragons, one on chromatic, one on metallic,
I believe that's how we were going with that.
and that we're lumping all the age categories for each one together.
I believe
Uh,
that's how we were leaning. Yeah.
okay, cool,
Yep.
cool.
All right.
Awesome.
So we gotta
Thank
go.
you
We got lives.
all so
Yeah.
much for being here.
Thank you.
Have a great week. We will be back on Friday for our next episode. Maybe we'll continue. Maybe we'll do another one of these since that's usually our Friday thing, or maybe we'll do a different topic since we switched things around this week. But we'll be back on Friday, same time, 8 a.m. Eastern. Come out and join us. Your calls to action this week are as follows:
Mm-hmm.
clean your room. Listen to some really good music. That could be live. It could be like pulling your record collection out and putting that on.
Mm-hmm.
It could be finding your MP3 player from years ago and
Your
just
Zune.
seeing what
Yeah.
music you were really into in middle school or whenever you had one.
Yeah.
The and last one is make something for dinner that you don't necessarily enjoy all that much, but somebody who is eating it with you does. For example, I don't like spaghetti. It is one of my wife's favorite foods, and so we had
Like
that.
in general,
I
like
I don't
pasta
like.
or
It's not that I don't like pasta. I just don't enjoy spaghetti.
Okay.
It's just not something that is like a huge
Okay.
like I will never
Interesting.
order it.
I got you. Okay.
So like make something for somebody that you know is one of their favorite foods that you don't
Mhm.
necessarily enjoy, just to make them smile. Have a great week, everybody. We will be back on Friday. And until then, remember to embrace the nonsense, and we'll see you around. Bye, guys.
everybody.
That was the wrong button. Bye, guys.
Oh, what?